Hello and welcome to the first edition of my End of Week series, where I sum up the week that has been passed. It's something I'm planning to do and doing now. Basically, the focus is going to be on what I've studied, basically, but this week I've only studied 2 days, so it's not going to be as much, but then just a kind of a summation instead. This week, just tomorrow I've been here 2 weeks in Japan. This week started Monday. I was in Tokyo. Tuesday I was in Tokyo. Wednesday I went by bus back to Kyoto, which was interesting because it took like an hour longer than the typical 8-hour bus ride that I'm used to, like Oslo to Stockholm or Stockholm to Malmo. But the difference here is that it took an hour longer, but it could have been quite like 7.5 or if they wanted to, because they took 4 rest stops, which was nice of them, but it's almost like it was 2 stops too many. Like 1 stop, yeah, that's very good, 2 is nice, but then at the 3rd one it's kind of like, we're stopping again, and the 4th one definitely we were like 20 minutes from Kyoto, so I was like, really, do we really have to do this? And the end of the line of the bus was Osaka. Just after that was probably just an hour ride. So I figured that people could have gone an hour and a half without another stop. But whatever, it's still nice. Bus was fine. Everything, yeah, it's good. Thursday and Friday were school days. Thursday we lost, I think, like 30 minutes or something by self-presentations and everything. And so then the rest of the class was sort of really high tempo, because it felt like they had to like cram one day's stuff into the slightly smaller time frame. Whatever. Those fucking tangents. Anyway, my class is about 21, 22 people, something like that. I think probably half of them are Chinese, or by the Chinese I mean Taiwanese. 2 people are Korean, including one guy who looks really proper. He has like his shirt buttoned all the way up and his pants like tucked into his pants and everything. He has like hair that goes down like this. The other Korean guy is a little bit more casual, but he always answers any question with a really high voice, the highest in the class, I would say. And there are 2 Italians, 1 guy and 1 girl. There's 1 American, there's 1 British guy, and there's me. But I think those are the only non-Asians actually. There's a lot of Asians, but the week before this week, I'm recording this on a Monday because I didn't get the chance yesterday. But on the orientation the week before, there was basically with all the people who were new this term, but the class I'm in, there are people who've already done a term or 2 or whatever, how many they've done. From the orientation period, there's only like 1 or 2 guys I recognize. Yeah, a Swiss guy. But at that orientation there was like 6 or 7 Spanish people. By Spanish I mean it was like 3 from Spain, 2 or 3 from Mexico, and 1 from Andorra of all places. But none of those are in my class apparently. And I'm in class 3, apparently out of 7. So I think that corresponds to my level. So they deemed me to be just on the verge of intermediate, sort of, which was nice. But it's also interesting because I'm in the same class as an American guy who has JLPT N2, which is, I have only N4, so how I ended up in the same class as him is kind of weird. I am better at him at pronunciation because he's American, so he speaks more like, watashi wa, that kind of stuff. But in other ways, he knows a lot more than me, so I'm not entirely sure how that happened. But anyway, the class, yeah, we got textbooks, which I didn't know what they were going to be, but it turned out to be Minna no Nihongo, which I knew of. For some reason I thought it was going to be Genki, but it turned out to be Minna no Nihongo, which I was under the impression that was kind of outdated textbook or something, but I didn't know too much about it anyway. And there's a kanji book. It's kanji N4, which is basically, I know most of these already, but I'm not going to complain because I'm totally fine with repeating it. The tempo in general is pretty fast, so it feels like with classes every day, I think it feels like right now I'm like hanging in there, but then it feels like they're going to get ahead of my knowledge limits at some point fairly soon, it feels like. So the class starts with pronunciation, which is for me the easiest part, and then it's kanji, and we go through 4 kanji per day. The only, I know, as I said, I've done most of the kanji so far. We've already done 8. We've only done 8 of them, but I've known all of them so far. But the only problem is the stroke order, because I don't do exactly the stroke order that they do, and I don't want to change either, because I know the way I know, and I don't want to just change it. So I'm not, unless they have one of those tests where they sort of look over your shoulder as you're writing it and they judge you on exactly the way you're doing it. Hopefully that won't come up. Otherwise I'll just keep doing it the way I'm doing it, because if the kanji looks like it's supposed to anyway, then I don't see the problem with it. After kanji there is the break, if I remember correctly right now, which is 15 minutes, and usually, so far we've gone outside. Just like 10 meters from the school is a convenience store, so we basically go there and just hang out, stand in front there, because we can't stand in front of the school. I mean, I think everyone wants to get some fresh air, but you're not allowed to stand outside the school because it's basically loitering, and the neighbors don't want people just hanging around. So they have like a sign on the outside the school that says, "Please do not stand around here." And then we come back, and then it's the sections is called main, which is basically just some kind of learning from the book, even though we haven't really explicitly read from the book yet. But the grammar basically that we did on Thursday, Friday was ba and kereba and nakereba, which is basically, and nara. So it's basically if. We also touched on tara, but she spoke about it as if you already know this, but this. So basically, like if, and she called it jokenke, which was it like conditionals, I guess. So it was the sentence structure of like if 車を買いたいんですが、どの店を買えばいいんですか? Like, if I buy it, where should I, which would be good? And then, like conjugating all the verbs, like どうすればいいんですか? 来る becomes 来れば, and then all the regular ru verbs, 食べる is 食べれば, which I know how to conjugate those, but my only problem there was the group 2, it's called, because I want to go like 食べる tabeba, but that's not how it goes. It's 食べれば. So that was my only problem, and I had just slightly confusing on okiru, which means to wake up, and it's okiru okimasu, so it's okireba. But the only problem is that it's the kanji, and then it's ki in hiragana, and then it's ru. So it like when it's ki in hiragana, that makes me think that it's okiru as in oku, like okimasu. But somehow that gets confused in my mind. So then I think it's the other group, but it's not. Nakeba and nara is just basically put after nouns and na adjectives, but you can also put it after verbs in dictionary form, like 勉強するなら, if study something. And I thought nara was like more complicated, and maybe it is, but so far they just presented it as is another way of saying if. And you can't do ba or kereba with nouns, of course, because you don't conjugate nouns. They just exist as they are all the time. And we have homework every day, and Friday is the same, so take it on Friday and hand it in on Monday. Luckily it's not like extra long to make up for the fact that you have 2 days to do it, which I was almost a little scared that would be the case. So this one is what I have from last one, and it's first part is fill in the particle, and then it's basically conjugate, so the example, and then you fill in the one. It's kopi ki no tsukaikata ga wakaramasen / dare ni kikimasu ka, and then you're supposed to have change it to nai form, so you have ndesu ga, like how you ask something. So my version is kopi ki no tsukaikata ga wakaranai desu ga dare ni kikeba ii desu ka. Who would it be good if I asked, pretty much, but the real meaning is just who should I ask about it. That wasn't the end. Then on the other side, that was 2. Oh yeah, and this thing has problem 1, problem 2, problem 4, and problem 5. Interesting. But problem 4, aka 3, is just doing stuff in nara form. So then you have to avoid using forms that would, use the ba thing, basically. But since you can also do, you can both do you can do benkyo suru ba ii desu ka or benkyo suru nara. But then when you say nara, that's basically you saying what you think would be preferable rather than asking. And this is what is you're supposed to. The question is in the example. Then you're supposed to answer with what you think. But you choose from a pool of possible answers. And the last one is if a Japanese friend visits your country, what would be good for which time, what should they eat, what the person should buy, and then you have to make up an answer. So basically I had to make up answers about Sweden, so kind of interesting, but it's good practice, but sometimes I find having imagination under pressure is difficult. Like I was in the class and they asked me something like that, just come up with somewhere someone should go in your country for sightseeing, and I was sat there for 15 agonizing seconds before the teacher just handed it over to the one next to me, and she did it instead. Which is I can do the actual thing, it's just I don't have the imagination right now to come up with an example just from out of the blue, which is a little frustrating. It's not their fault, but it's not you, it's me. And then this last week I also been on Friday I went out to a restaurant and a bar with Homma-san, and we went to, first we ate kushikatsu, which is skewered meat and whatever stuff on a stick, and then deep fried, which was good, but a deep fried onion is not very tasty, but a deep fried sausage is very tasty, and chicken also is always tasty. And I got potato salad with it, and potato salad in Japan is basically mashed potatoes with eggs put in, but potato salad in Sweden is a bit different. And then the bar, and that was supposed to be a bar where people who work at Nintendo actually go there sometimes, and unfortunately this time no one did. But it was still fun because I got to practice speaking, and they didn't know English, but there were fun people there, so it was fun. And then yesterday I went out with Kazu, which is not his complete name, a couch surfer that I had in Sweden, and we went to an arcade and we had some ramen, and it was also good and fun. So yeah, good. And I went to a couple of bookups, bought a couple of games, but that's another video. So yeah, not sure if I should just keep it to school stuff or life in general, but we got both today. So right. Now I'm in a couple hours, school starts again, and this time it's 5 days in a row instead of just 2. So feels like you know, like after, even though it's just 3 hours, your brain feels tired after 3 hours, especially at that pace. So yeah, now it's like when I went on the plane to London, that was just a warm up. That was those 2 days. Now I'm doing the Hong Kong 12-hour flight, which is the 5 days of this. So see if I look much more tired next week. Hopefully I can also film somewhere outside, because it's raining now. But I wanted to film outside, but unfortunately it's raining. It's still kind of warm though. But anyway, see you next week.